Well, welcome everybody. I am Joan of Angels. I am so happy to see you all. And we have a really big show tonight with all of you, just to let you all know that. We're going to be talking about, am I from the stars? What kind of wisdom can we gather from the stars? What is it like to be a star person? How do we connect with these manifestations? How do we connect with our extraterrestrial wise self? And all that and more. We're going to be talking with a dear friend from the Star Wisdom families. But meanwhile, before we get started, first of all, I'm Joan of Angels. You're here with us on Step Into the Miraculous, and I am your guide to the miraculous living, as well as an intuitive guide for all of you to help teach you how to remember who you are, why you're here, what your purpose is, and how you can really live authentically and more powerfully in these coming times that are happening. And so I want to welcome you all here. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're old timer, thank you for coming back. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So meanwhile, I want to update you on a few things. First of all, I was listening to someone talk about CBD today, and they were talking about how CBD, they had been using CBD for quite a couple of months, a month or two, and it helped them get off of opiates, and it helped them get off of aspirin and ibuprofen. And so it considerably reduced their pain. And I thought, well, you know what? I sell the hemp works, and I don't know why I'm not up there telling you all about it as well. So I have been taking this tincture for my broken toe, and I've been using this on my broken toe and on my knees and my neck and a few other things. So if you have pain, if you're ready to get off of over the counter or prescribed pharmaceuticals, kindly look at our hemp works and our CBD, because I'm an advocate of using plant medicine, all things plant medicine, for getting our bodies healthy from the inside out. That's just my chiropractic background. I can't help it. So that's one of the things I really want to tell you about. Also wanted to share with you that this is your time now, guys, to really ask your questions, really get started on walking your own soul path and stepping into your purpose now. Be more prepared for what is going on. Okay, because we know that things are difficult right now. New things are happening, old things are disappearing, and we need to be on our best game. And so some of these shows talk about that. All right, so I want to tell you about our guest, Jenna. Jenna Layden happens to be the former global vice president for Whole Foods Market. So even the fact that she's coming on our show today, I think is pretty good. Okay, she's been leading teams and individuals through change and transformation for over 15 years. She's an experiencer of supernatural phenomenon and ET contact, and she's developed a passion for helping humans like us embrace a multidimensional reality without fear. So through these experiences, Jenna began remembering lives off Earth and is now focused on her mission in this life to be a teacher of lost knowledge and wisdom from the stars. She is a shamanic practitioner, a spiritual cosmic guide. She will connect ancient wisdom, new mind, body, science, and universal spiritual teachings to assist people to navigate their healing and spiritual transformation. And just to finish up, early this year, she actually founded the Star Family Wisdom Community Tribe, which she is going to tell us all about now that you get her. See, being a broadcaster means that you have to be sharp, on your feet, and ready to go with the flow and still entertain everyone. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Avon, in case you haven't met Avon. Yes. So Avon is our go-to guy. He is a tall white Zeta. He is from the Zeta Reticula, but he chose me. I was at a conference. I had had an extraterrestrial experience the night before. I walked in and there was a table full of extraterrestrial sculptures, not just like him. And he was all white when I got him, but there were like 30 different varieties of ETs, if you can believe that. And the woman who did them was a hybrid herself, and she was in contact and they had asked her to do the sculptures. And that's where Avon came to me. He told me he's an ambassador. Okay, now let's see if our other live ambassador, Jenna, can communicate from the earthly realms with us. Hey, everybody. Here is Jenna from the Star Family Wisdom. I am so excited to introduce her to you. And I'm going to say that the powers that be wanted to interfere. And that's why we had all that static. And that's my little conspiracy coincidence theorist right now. But we were able to break through all of that. And here she is.
Thank you so much, Joan. It's so good to be here. Hi, everyone.
It is so nice to see you. So why don't you give us a little bit of the backstory about you and how you became the Star Family Wisdom Keeper here?
Thank you. So thank you for that beautiful introduction. Like you said, I am a former global vice president for Whole Foods Market and worked for Whole Foods Market for over 15 years. And in the last 5 to 6 years, I started having some extraordinary experiences. And when I think back to, my time at Whole Foods, there were times I was experiencing some precognition, some claircognizance, but I wasn't that familiar with what that was. So I just wasn't that tuned into it. And in the last 5 or 6 years, some kind of bigger, extraordinary experiences started to occur where I did actually start to have future visions. I had spontaneous past life visions. I started having some, what I know now to be ET contact experiences. And through that, I went from being a staunch atheist, very much science-minded, very much, logical, analytical in my approach to, the world, to really opening my eyes to the quantum reality that we are a part of and how our consciousness as humans is expanding, and mine expanded really rapidly. And so it's been a very intense 5 or 6 years of processing and integrating both these experiences, but also receiving the downloads of wisdom and getting reconnected with some of my Native American heritage as a human through shamanic practice. And now I am acting as a bridge between ETs and humans. I am a spiritual and cosmic guide, helping people understand how the universe works, how to work with spiritual law, how the mind works, how we can make contact, and how we can embrace this multidimensional reality without fear, because we live in a world right now that is going through a huge transformation, and with that comes a lot of fear and anxiety. And so, I think part of my kind of transition and transformation helped me navigate that shedding of fear and anxiety. So now I'm so passionate about helping others with that. So yeah, I wear multiple hats these days, both as a business leader, as a shamanic practitioner, as a spiritual guide, and someone who can, understand kind of all aspects of human point of view.
Very, very interesting. First of all, I love that you're a bridge, because years ago I saw this ancient writing on foreheads, and when a remote viewer transcribed it, it was like we're calling for a gathering of heaven and earth. And so being a bridge is beautiful. So this is a twofold question. Why do you think they chose you? And as you were growing up, did you have any indication that there was something very different about you that actually, once it all started to happen, was like, oh my God, now I get it?
Yeah, definitely. I think, part of our journey as souls can be so much better understood as we progress in life, right? And we can look back on all the experiences that add up, that start to make sense, that you start to see connections. And yes, at a very young age, I kind of acted as an old soul. And, for many years, I used that term. I used the term old soul when people would ask about, my personality and why I was like leading this very adult life at a very young age, why I was in leadership positions at a very young age. And I never really understood what that term meant. And I do now. So I believe that I am an advanced soul. I've been around. I've had a lot of lives. And so, I think that's not a good or bad thing. That's not a better or worse thing, right? That is just my ability to bring kind of a level of wisdom that transcends what I've known here in this human life. So as a child, there, are times where I would read people's minds, or, again, early in my career, I would just know how to lead people through tough situations. I was leading people twice, 3 times my age in my early 20s, and just intuitively knew how to navigate, very kind of interpersonal situations. And I look back on a lot of that now and think, okay, yeah, that was some skill I was bringing from previous lives, right? And our skills, our passions come from other experiences, right? We build upon life after life after life, and we bring that into this life. So for anyone who's watching, if you have a particular skill or passion and you don't know where that came from, you brought that with you into this life. So I realize now I brought a lot of that with me, and that has just opened up, as time has progressed and as my kind of human psychological capability has grown to be able to integrate an understanding of all of this.
It takes time. Like I was asked today, how did I get used to being Joan of Angels? So it does take time to integrate all of what we're learning. So do you have a sense of what star system you come from, or what, star family is your tribe?
Yeah, I do now.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so it started off slow. So my experiences were not, a typical kind of abduction experience, which is what, we've heard a lot about. They were gentle. So it was this way of awakening me to this understanding of who I am and where my soul came from, and just through a lot of, personal exploration, past life regression, quantum journeying, all of that we can do to really access our subconscious realms. I started recovering memories of actual contact that was happening here in this life, but also who I used to be. And I come from the Regel star system. So that's where my soul calls home when I'm not incarnating here on Earth. I, as a soul, have spent more time there. And so Earth doesn't feel like home to me. And I learned that, in the last 5 or 6 years, that was a big missing piece of me and my soul. And the Regel star system is in the Orion star system, for people who aren't familiar with that. And there's some negative narratives around, the Orion constellation and what beings come from that constellation. But I think it's so important that we all just remember how diverse and how expansive our galaxy and our universe are. We live in a dual universe, right? A universe that's programmed for duality. So there's going to be positive and negative. And so that's my home star, and my star family are the mantid beings. And the mantid beings are kind of an advanced, like, scientific and very spiritually oriented group of beings, and they work with a lot of other star races. A lot of the star races work together. There's an order to things, beyond this planet. So yeah, it's been amazing to learn about.
This is the praying mantis beings, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That are the mantis. Aren't they known to be some of the wisest, sort of the most sage beings in the solar system?
That's what, yeah, that's what
What
I
I
know now,
understand.
and it makes sense why I'm, such an old soul.
And is that so? We have a great question here. It's right in the line. So, how were you first contacted? What were you doing? Where were you? And Denise is very curious, as we all are. Denise, just so you know, where were you?
Great,
What
great,
happened?
great question, Denise. So this is, it's interesting how this occurred. I was far enough along in my spiritual awakening and my understanding of um, quantum entanglement and psychic abilities to be grounded in that and to understand that, yes, psychic things are possible, quantum entanglement is possible. So that's, I think, just an important foundation for how this started. One day I was kind of struggling with something. I was having like a relationship issue with someone else, and I was, kind of going over it in my head. You know how you get in that kind of place where you're mulling something over, you're struggling with something, and you're kind of having a conversation with yourself. And so I was doing that, I was processing something, and all of a sudden, this message just came in and interrupted, just completely cut me off in my head and gave me instructions, gave me directions about how I was handling that situation. Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Tell us more. I want to hear about the voice. Like, was it a
Yeah.
different voice? Was it like one
Oh,
side
yeah.
of your head? Was it?
Yeah, very different. It was very objective. It was very direct. It was, again, not my train of thought. It was not my consciousness. It was not my thought patterns. And I was, practiced enough in meditation at this point to also be very self-aware of my own thought patterns and to be very aware of how my brain works. And so it was so incredible when that happened, because it was very clear that this came from outside of me. And it was giving me a message about how I was not being forgiving enough. I was not being I was not coming from a heart-centered place in this situation. So it was a beautiful message. And at the time, I thought, maybe this is an angel. Maybe this is a guide, right? And so I just left it there and I moved on. Well, it continued to happen. And then I was starting to contemplate a career change, and I was in another situation where that, train of thought was going. And I got interrupted again, and it gave me very specific, direct instructions. This was at the end of 2019. We were about to go into 2020, which is, when the pandemic started, which none of us knew at the end of 2019. And as I was contemplating a career change, this message said, you have to stay at Whole Foods. Your leadership will be needed. So that was big. So I stayed in 2020, and that was the last big message I got that was kind of startling. And there were a number of other experiences that were starting to happen, like very synchronistic experiences. And then there was a time when I was reading a book about abduction experiences, because I was curious, and I want to come from a place of being open-minded, and I wanted to just understand what was going on. And so I started to read a book by John Mack, a Harvard professor. You're familiar with him. And I was on like the first chapter, and I had the biggest spontaneous emotional release of my life. Like something inside of me just had to get released. It touched something inside of me that I didn't know was there, and it was startling. And I knew enough about the science of the mind at that point to know that we can suppress memories, and we, when something traumatic or outside of our worldview happens, if we can't psychologically process that, we'll suppress it. And when that happened, after all those messages had occurred, then I put two and two together, and I thought, okay, there's something here. I think like clearly this emotional release happened around the ET topic. So something's happening.
You put it together.
So I went through a regression. Yeah.
So you went through a regression around it and discovered that you had ET contact.
Yeah, and that I'm not from here, and that's the reason why I had that, emotional release, is because my soul missed home. My soul felt a little lonely here. My soul was a little depressed here, right? That connection had been severed, and then something also kind of extraordinary happened when I was in the regressed state, which, for those who don't know, is just a really deep, level of trance. When you're in that altered state of consciousness, that's a channeling state as well, right? You're accessing your higher self. You can access, angelic guidance, right? And my star family channeled through me. So during the regression, my answers switched from answering as me to this group of beings channeling through me, telling me about, these contact experiences, and validating that this had been happening for a reason, and that it is to help me access my memories of where I come from, and to connect the memories of what we are now learning on Earth about our origins, about our spiritual reality, about how the universe works. And so through those experiences, it was to all come back to me. And during the regression, my star family shared a lot more about that, which was pretty amazing.
So can you contact them directly now, or do you need to go through regression?
No, yeah. We chat from time to time, and sometimes sometimes, just like before, there are messages that want to come through that I have to make room for, and Star Family Wisdom, which is the online community and educational platform that I'm running, is guided by them. So that name was chosen by them. It has all manifested and kind of flowed out of me, kind of in a channeled way. So I'll give one example. At the beginning of this year, when I was, first launching it, I sat down at the computer one day, and spiritual laws of the universe just came out of me.
Wow.
Yeah. So it happens that way too. It's both. It's direct contact telepathically, and it's also in kind of this intuitive, channeled way.
I love that. And I really like how you awakened to it, how you were led to the book, how you were led to these experiences. I found out about my contact through reading Whitley Strieber, and because I had been abducted, so it triggered all of the fear that I had of things hiding in my closet. But where I love how awakening is planned. We get that awakening moment, and then we either say yes to learning more or not. So so I have a few more questions. What does your star family tell you about what is happening here on our planet now? Do they give you information that way?
Yes and no. I think there is a desire to support the evolution that's happening right now. There is a desire to help humans understand that what we're going through right now has happened before. And this is the fourth world that we are in. A lot of our indigenous friends, brothers and sisters, would be able to tell us about that, and about the previous civilizations that have lived on Earth. And so yes, there is guidance about, what's happening. And I recently moved to Sedona, Arizona, and that was guided by my star family. There, is a desire to not cause panic about what's happening, right? There is, I think, a desire to help people choose a spiritual path forward. Just like you said, Joan, we get an opportunity to awaken, right? And every soul on Earth is here for a different reason right now. Every soul's going through their lessons and their growth, and it's all beautiful and it's all important. And so, I think it's important that we don't get caught up in fear, and it's important that we stay focused on connecting with ourselves and with each other as a tribe, and utilizing our spiritual practices and tools to navigate this time of change, because it is a big time of change. And that change, that transformation is certainly not done. There's still going to be, some rough road ahead of us, but on the other side of that, anytime there's transformation, anytime, something old has to die away, that gives us this chance to experience something even better, something that's new that we can build from scratch, right? There's so many reasons to, be excited about transformation while, we're in the struggle of it. So, that's a lot of what, I integrate and process, from them. And there's no sugarcoating, right? That we're in a tough situation as a civilization,
No,
right?
we are. Yep.
That is what it is. And I think, for anyone who is awakened, you can see that, right? That, we have chosen a certain path, and there are consequences to that path. And it is a time right now where we all get to choose the path we take forward, right? And we all get to choose how much love we can bring into the world right now. And we all get to choose how much of our own self-healing we get to focus on. And, when there's a lot that's outside of our control or feels like it's outside of our control, it's a good reminder to come back to what we can control.
Right. Right. And, it's wonderful to be able to have allies, whether they be your angels, your guides, or your star family, kind of assisting you in this process. So I'm really excited. And well, give us some of your comments, RJ and RL, and let us know what your thoughts are. So it's kind of interesting. So how do you help people then with all of this, all these skills that you do have and that you've learned? I take it you're no longer at Whole Foods.
No, I left Whole Foods at the beginning of this year. Yeah.
When you mentioned Sedona, I was thinking of the Whole Foods in Sedona, and when I first got up there, there was a woman in Whole Foods wearing a T-shirt that said "Undercover Angel." She still might be there. Look for her. She works there, and she wears this T-shirt, "Undercover Angel."
I love it.
And that's what I keep thinking of you.
I need a T-shirt that says "Undercover ET."
Yes, Undercover ET. We all need that. So do you think that many people are connected to the extraterrestrial families, but just don't know it, haven't woken up to it?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think there are a lot of instances of angelic contact that I think are actually ETs. And, the civilizations that are more advanced than us, they are operating in higher dimensions. They are lighter. They are not as physically dense as us. So they can appear to us in a way that's kind of angelic. And I think some of that's just been misinterpreted. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't angels. That doesn't mean there aren't spiritual guides, because that's true too. Right. It just turns out that, our spiritual team, when we're in this dimension, can just be much bigger. And so yeah, there are a lot of souls on Earth right now that have had experiences other places who probably have that connection and just haven't quite opened up to it yet. And once you're open and you ask and you want that, all right, like you set that intention, that can occur a little easier.
Right. And it's very, very exciting. They want us to connect with them. That's what my guides have told me. That's what he tells me. He tells me where I should take him, who he wants to talk to. He gives me a lot of insight into handling things, I think, better here on the planet.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just looking at me right now. He always has a lot to say too. So, but tell us then how you integrate them with your shamanic practices, your manifestation. I know you have a lot of classes. So tell us about that, a little bit about your classes and the work that you do. Because see, we have it up here, the Masters of Manifestation.
Yes, so that's a big one. I'm super passionate about manifestation, and And not from a place of how much stuff can we accumulate, but how can you really take control of your reality, right? How can you step out of being, a victim of your life experience to actually creating your life experience? Because it can be done. And I'm living proof of it. I've gone from atheist to, now having this awakening and practicing these manifestation tools and practices and spiritual law. And I can tell you it works when it's all, done holistically and you're living in harmony. It's incredible. It's incredible what you can create. And so the Masters of Manifestation course, is a combination of quantum science, spiritual law, science of the mind, and you get so many tools, and you actually get a full toolkit that you get to keep forever that you can use ongoing in your manifestation practice. So that's a big one. And I'm also really passionate about supporting people's health and wellness and their healing. And, there's so much we can do on an energetic level to change our energy field, right? So everything physical manifests from the invisible, right? Energy into the physical. And so when we work in the energy field, we can shift how, our bodies are even functioning, and we can upgrade our personal energy field. And that's a lot of what I do with shamanic practice. So I offer a shamanic practice course for kind of, a beginner's guide to shamanism and shamanic practice. But I also offer one-on-one sessions and group programs that take people through an initiation. And that initiation really is about, clearing your energy field, connecting you with this lineage of luminous beings, spiritual, guides, that the lineage of shamans, I practice with, have connected with, for thousands of years. And so the shamanic initiation is something I'm very passionate about, because I believe that, a lot of our shamanic cultures on Earth are practicing a type of spirituality and energy medicine that is so pure and in my opinion, was delivered to us from our star brothers and sisters. And so I'm really passionate about making that connection too, and helping people understand how energy works, because we're just living in a universe of energy. And once you understand that and how that works, it gets a lot easier to navigate your reality. And then if someone wants kind of just the best hits of how to raise your vibe, clear your energy, start some manifestation, I offer a 28-day Raise Your Vibe challenge, where you get a new challenge every single day. But, they're short and sweet, and something you can just kind of build into your lifestyle over time, and gives you this ability to really kind of clear, some of that denser energy that we take on.
I love it. I think it's very, very exciting. And it just makes a lot of sense. And I'm just thinking, wow, here you were 2 years ago, probably not even imagining you'd be doing this kind of work, moving to Sedona and kind of navigating your leadership now into more of a spiritual type of leadership. You were born for this, is what my guide is saying. Yeah, she was born for this. Let's talk a little bit about star types. So because as I'm listening to you, I'm going, oh, that's so right. The praying mantises, they're scientific and they're connectors. I think the thing I remember most about them is they like to connect things together. They're from these connector tribes. What do you have any familiarity with any of the other star beings?
I do, not as much directly from this human, experience, but through, a lot of the research I've done, and, the integration about kind of who we have been here on Earth. I'm aware that, there have been, there's a galactic family supporting us. There is a galactic family that has been present on Earth in our, ancient past, and at various times in our history has supported the evolution of humanity. So, the Syrian races have been on Earth, for many thousands of years. The Arcturians, work with a lot of humans right now to support healing. So they're, really focused on, healing processes. And, the Syrians, definitely bring like a level of spiritual wisdom to cultures on Earth that is, obviously still present in a lot of our spiritual practices and religions. And, I think there are so many different, races. There's the Lyrans. I'll say the Syrians, the Arcturians, the Lyrans, the Zetas have had the most kind of interaction, I think, with Earth, in the past. And I think those are the races that are just a little more prominent in terms of souls who are on Earth right now doing this sort of work.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The sound is coming back. Are you hearing that I'm echoing?
You sound good on my end.
Okay, so you're not hearing an echo.
No.
Okay, good. All right, well, there was an echo for a minute. That was the voice of spirit talking to us. We had a question I just noticed on plant medicine. It was on psilocybin. And I wanted to address that. So I actually believe that certain plants in plant medicine have been a gift from the star beings to us to raise our consciousness and to help us connect with our star guides, with our angels, with our spiritual tribe. But we have a question. Shelley wants to know if you think it is a tool that can be used to communicate with your star family. Obviously, you didn't need it, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll say I use psilocybin every so often in small doses, and I think it can be very powerful for rewiring, our brains and helping us kind of just break out of our everyday paradigm and to see things with new eyes, to feel more of a connection. And I think psilocybin helps us experience oneness, which is this, urge of evolution. That's like the urge of the universe, is for us to all experience the oneness of this creation. And psilocybin also kind of reconnects us with the earth in a way that we kind of forget about. And that's something I'm really passionate about too, is because while we have this expanded connection happening with our star friends and star family, we also have this beautiful being here who is our mother in this life, right? Like, we came from Mother Earth, and anything we can do to reconnect with her and support her healing right now is so important. And if she is healing, we're healing. If we're healing, she's healing. And so psilocybin, supports that. And yeah, I think, it can help, with that kind of expanded state of consciousness. I prefer, to attempt contact with beings without any substances, because, if you're new to it, you do need to be aware that when you're opening yourself, right? And if you don't have really clear control over what that is going to look like, sometimes you could have an experience that isn't the most positive, but I would say, no matter what you're doing, just be really intentional. It's all about intention, right? It's about setting intention for a peaceful, loving connection. Anytime I'm making contact, I set my intention to connect with the highest vibrational, love and light beings. And any beings that are outside of that paradigm are not allowed in. So, as long as you're clear and direct,
I like that.
Way,
all right. Good. And we can say no.
Yes.
And we can use our voice to set boundaries and say no.
Yes.
So how can people work with you? Then they can take this Masters of Manifestation class and some of your trainings. And you also offer shamanic one-on-one work.
Yeah. Yeah, so the shamanic work, can look like taking someone through the full initiation, which is a 10-week process. So, it builds over time. And I can also support people in doing some energetic clearing. So I do chakra clearing and, removing, some of those imprints from the energy field. And that's a fairly quick session that can be done to kind of reset you. And then, yeah, the shamanic practice for manifestation course is a blend of shamanic practice and manifestation practices. And ultimately, shamanism is about working with the energies of creation and the energies of the universe to navigate our reality. So yeah, you can reach out to me, Jenna at starfamilywisdom.com, if you have any questions or if you're interested in learning more. On the website, you can see a store that has tons of other resources and products you can take advantage of.
Good. And I'll have all the links below for everyone. So I just had this beautiful vision of you, Jenna. You said that you just moved to Sedona, and I just saw you like just in this tower. I can't explain it. It was like in a tower in Sedona of light, and that you were there to really raise the light frequency in Sedona. And I just I see it embracing you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There's all these people who do this. There's something about you coming there that will bring another level of awareness.
Thank you.
And Sedona is such a source, an energy source for the planet. So I just felt that really powerfully. And I just appreciate your wisdom. I can appreciate you as a mantid being, as a praying mantid being. When you describe that, I could really feel your connection with that. And I just appreciate your awakening, that you had, like the way you're describing your awakening. It's something that I think many of the people who are going to be listening to this have had also, that experience of like, I just heard something. What in the world? Where's that coming from?
Yeah,
and then waking up to the knowledge of who we are. And that's what I think is going on in this Corona period. We are in Corona and post-Corona. I don't want to call it anything else but Corona, because Corona means light and crown to me. So I'm going to put it in the highest of ways. Well, this has been wonderful. And so I'm just excited. Thank you so much for showing up and for being with us.
Thank you so much, Joan. It is so lovely to be with you and to be in your light and your energy and to connect with your community.
I love it. Thank you. And I swear I heard the voice of God in those echoes that you brought with you. It's like heaven.
Big energy coming through.
Big energy coming through. And I used to have this one psychic that I used to go to that I would break every cassette recorder in the place. And she would say that it was my energy frequency that blew out all of her electronics. Oh, wow. And this is the first time this has happened on a broadcast. So I'm going to say it was your high frequency energy, Jenna. All right.
We'll chalk it up to that.
Thank you so much. We'll talk in a bit.
Thank you.
Wow. Was that great? Oh, was that great? And I want all of you to start to think about, what star family are you a part of? What beings do you hear? How do you connect with your spiritual tribe? So make sure you reach out to Jenna and that Masters of Manifestation class. Use the link that Tina gave you, because that will get you right into the class. And then she'll know that you had heard her on Joan of Angels. And on that note, I want to thank all of you again for having been with us and our guests and stepping into the miraculous and the inspirational with us, and just learning new tools that we can use to shift our life, to ascend and to transform and to do what we came here to do this lifetime. And so on that note, make sure you check out my new website at joanofangels.com, and you can get my free ebook on how to live your soul purpose now, which I think some of you would really, really like. It talks about that focus and intention. Also, don't forget, if you have any pain in your body, make sure you get away from the pharmaceuticals, the aspirin, the ibuprofens, the codeine, and the opiates, and start using CBD relief so you can actually get out of pain and function better. And by the way, when you add it with the tincture, not only does it help reduce your pain, swelling, and inflammation, I'm trying to put it all into one word, but it also helps with anxiety and your energy and your vitality and your skin. Okay, good. So that's all for today. And I'm so happy to see you. We will see you on the next episode of Stepping Into the Miraculous. Have a great day. Many blessings. And we will see you on that inspirational, interdimensional, miraculous side. Bye for now.